Well, no one's here yet, but oh, it's Renata. I always count on you to be here. I just finished giving the bathroom a deep clean, so I'm very warm. So I have a little bit more glow than usual and tank top instead of a black t-shirt. I will answer that in a second. What are you going to be working on today, Renata? Yeah. Oh, see, we're going into fall, but it's still very warm in the house. And yes, of course, the second I turn this on, everyone wants to know what I'm doing. So I'm going to get this set up. Perfect. Ooh. You should, oh, allergies. You should do one this sprint and then one the next sprint. I'm gonna do at least 2, hopefully 3. We'll see. I'm only gonna be out here for like an hour. All right, I think I'm gonna start off with a nice little warm up of 15 minutes. I'm usually full of good ideas. All right. Well, you do whichever one you feel like doing, and then you let me know which one you decided on. All right, and 3, 2, 1, go. Awesome. How'd you do, Renata? I got a whole 166 words. And I'm almost done re-outlining chapter 7. And once I've finished with this, I think I have like one last little like thing to write about it. Once that's done, I am done with Act 1, apparently, which is very fun. Which one did you end up deciding? The reading or the writing? I'm guessing the reading then. I haven't read Gentleman's Guide, but I do know a few things about it. Finish a chapter and start another one. Yeah, so you're going to be stuck reading this entire sprint, aren't you? Yes, I was gone for a bit there because I remembered I left a candle on in the living room and I had to blow it out, but it wouldn't go out. So I had to stay there, kind of fanning the smoke away from it, waiting for it to stop being embers. Oh, yeah. I don't know. Sometimes misunderstandings can be really great, but also like it's a very interesting trope. I like it in like comedy settings because that can be really, really funny. But when it's in like a dramatic sort of setting, and it's kind of like, oh, you guys could have just talked and resolved this before, so it wasn't nearly as dramatic. But that's just me. I'd be the worst. I'd be the worst landlord ever. So I have a group chat with my mom and my sisters, and we were discussing purchasing a snowblower, which I'm sure you don't have a problem with, but nice. So there must be a lot more misunderstandings yet to come. I'm working on Project Crow. I'm hoping to get it mostly, at least the first half. Like the first half is done. Like up to chapter 18, and then from like 18 or like 19 onwards, I do need to do a lot of like big plot overhauls, but I figured it was better to start off with like chapter 1 and work my way down from there. Because I want to get it all nice and ready for Pitch Wars. So the first, I can't remember how many pages it's supposed to be, but the first 5 pages or so, it's either 5 pages or like one chapter or something like that, that is going to entice whoever you're trying to get the mentorship with to request a full. And honestly, I count fulls as wins. So yes, I'm just hoping for like one full request. That's all I want. Out of the 4 mentors that I'm going to be applying to, I just want one. Yeah, so I got the Save the Cat, where it's a novel, and it's really cool because they have where is it? Um, they have like this sort of thing where it's like tells you what is in Act One and kind of like gives you like a bit of a summary. So what I've done is I have it written in a Scrivener file. Oh, hello, Kelly. Uh, yes. Oh, yes, I understand. Have me on in the background or whatever. You packing's literally the worst. Also, the dinging that if you guys can hear that, it is because my laptop is connected to my phone and the group chat is going off right now. But yeah, in my Scrivener file, I just like wrote out the whole 3 act structure, and then oh yeah, do you not think you could? I think you could do it in English. Honestly, like parts of it are really good. I do really enjoy the structuring part, and then they also have the sections um, 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 for the chapters. They kind of go over like the most common arcs. And yes, my earrings are watermelons. These are the ones that Mandy made, and I was like, I must buy. These are my new favorites. I love these so much. And she sold them to me because I bought 2 more. And so she gave me a discount so I didn't have to pay for the shipping, which was lovely. Everyone, I always have her link in the description below if you ever want to have some custom beaded earrings and help out a small Indigenous business. But yeah, it's really cool because they have the most common story arcs. So the one I didn't even know about this. Uh, Mine's actually the Golden Fleece, which is kind of like a road trip quest sort of thing. And I'm like, oh yeah, that does make sense. But it kind of gives you really like a good structure, which like you don't have to follow, but then it just like gives you an idea of what should be happening, which is what I'm working with because my first act has like a false catalyst, um, which I didn't realize until I started like doing this reverse outline. So yes, now, honestly, it is like a road trip. But I didn't even think about it like that until I'd read the Golden Fleece part, and I was like, "Oh, that is all a quest is. It's a road trip." um, I, I'll ask her. Her prices are in Canadian though, so I think it'll be a good discount for you anyway. Ooh, yeah, conversion currency is honestly the worst. Especially the Canadian dollar is always so low compared to the US one. Um, yes, you definitely should. Earrings are literally my favorite, but like I can't wear these types of earrings to work anymore because of the masks. Because it's just really hard to like get it on and off constantly. Um, so yeah, I wear studs most of the time because I have 2 holes in these, and then I have 3 in this one. But I want more because apparently we're allowed to have more now. Um, so I can only wear these types of earrings when I'm live streaming or filming. Which reminds me, I do need to write out my script, and I'll probably film it tomorrow. Maybe I'm going to see. I'm going to see what the sunlight does. Yes, I realized that like most of my stories revolve around like these road trip type things, and it's great. hmm Yes, but definitely at tattoo parlors. Go to tattoo parlors for your piercings because I went to just like a jewelry store to get my second hole done, and they got infected, and I had to like redo them, and they weren't even like redone very well. But oh well, c'est la vie. All right, how do you guys feel about another sprint? I'm thinking 20 minutes for this one, and then possibly one more after that. Oh yes, yeah, Claire's are they use the it's because they use the guns. The guns aren't good. But yes, some of my coworkers and I, when we found out that this work? No, this one. Once we found out that like our new updated dress code allows for more piercings. Like before, they would actually give like a specific limit, like you were allowed no more than 2 holes per ear. But now there's no limit, but there's a size limit, which I mean, it didn't really affect me anyway. Yeah. Oh, I my favorite was is seeing like those the videos of the parents bringing their kids to tattoo parlors, and the tattoo artist is or the piercing artist is very like this is what all this stuff is, etc., etc. Um, oh, and it's so great. Alrighty, 20 minutes on the timer there. All right. Well, 3, 2, 1, go. Awesome. That was very productive, but everyone keeps texting me. All right. It's gonna take me a second for the word count. 185 words, but oh no. I finished the outline, like the backwards plotting for chapters 7, 8, 9, and 10. So I'm pretty happy about that. Oh, and 11. Honestly, I don't know the true theme of my story, if that makes sense. Like I was never really good at theme. When I was in English class, I always made stuff up, but I was very good at making stuff up. So that's how I would pass that. But honestly, I wouldn't worry too much about your theme yet, especially if you're going into the first draft. The first draft is for kind of like experimenting in a way. So you could have like a vague idea of what you want, like the overarching idea or the theme. And then once you go into draft 2, you'll know a lot more about it because you'll have learned through draft 1. Oh yes, they're always there. And you don't see it, or like you'll see a different theme than I will, or like we'll both see like the same theme, but like we'll come at it at different angles. And that's what life's all about. So yeah, don't worry too much about it. I would just focus on writing it first and then figuring out what the actual theme is after. And then that way too, you can restructure from there. Yes, that's my advice. Just give her. Oh, yeah, I could see how that would help with the main protagonist's conflict. Yeah, but at the same time, if you know their main conflict, the theme will come naturally out of that. So yeah, don't stress too much about it. You'll get there. Ooh. Bring in dinner and first drafts. Yeah. Yeah. First drafts are always very rough, I would say, because you're trying to get everything out all at once, right? And then your later drafts are like fine tuning the original ideas you had in draft 1. So yeah, we've all had to learn this lesson. Don't you worry, Renata. You're still a baby. Don't worry. Yeah. So this I got, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chapters reverse outlined, and 351 words for the day. I feel like that's wonderfully productive. And I got to show off my watermelon earrings. Mm-hmm. So I think, because dinner's in about half an hour, I have a bit more cleaning to do before then. But yes, so I think I'm probably going to end it here. But Woo. Project Crow is a young adult high fantasy novel, uh, kind of like a um, prince gets a quest trope, but it's told from the perspective of the sidekick, and the sidekick really does not want to be a part of the whole quest. um, yeah, and the main character in this one is literally one of my favorite characters that I've ever created. He's so snarky. Um, but yeah, I've been working with this project for about 4 years now. Um, and yeah, I've literally only sent like 3 queries out, and one of them was a no response, and then 2 of them were like personalized rejection letters, which are also, I think, a win. Um, so yes, um, yeah, it kind of follows like a stereotypical like quest that was given by like given by the gods to this prince. But as the quest goes on, it kind of like dissolves into this was the main reason behind the quest, and like the prince's motivations. Um, but like you don't see those motivations until later. Um, yeah, and it just gets all very twisted in a way that I think is different. um, yeah, I'm trying not to give too much away, um, but I really like it. And yes, don't you worry, Kelly. I know you're packing, so don't worry about it too much. And yes, I also just want to daydream and then just like make money off of daydreaming and not actually writing. That's all I want. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah. I it's a both plus and a minus to be working with these characters for so long, because I've been working with them for so long. It's a I know a lot about them, and I know the voice very well and everything like that. The biggest problem is trying to transition into, for example, like Project Daisy. Um, and I don't want it to match the original voice exactly. Getting some really lovely lines on here. Great. I'm just going to do this. Yeah, so that was the biggest struggle I was having with Project Daisy, was that I couldn't get the voice quite right with draft one. So I was, planning on working on it for draft two, but then I knew I wouldn't have it ready in time for Pitch Wars. So yes. And then that's also the problem too, is like if I do get selected for Pitch Wars, the mentors, when they request like a full from you, they ask you, for example, like, is there anything you would not want to change about your manuscript? Which I really like that question. But at the same time, if you've worked with a project for so long, and oh yes, Jules, thank you. Yeah, Jules was my beta reader. I think it was in draft 3 or draft 4. And they always had something so lovely to say about it. Thank you so much. I do try to work on my character chemistry. But yeah, working with a project for so long, there's certain things you really just don't want to change, right? So yes, there are very few things where I would be like 100% adamant, this must be in here or this must not change. But yeah, for the most part, I would be pretty open to like plot overhauls as long as the characters themselves stay the same. Except I would not be putting them in contemporary because that's just a no. Um, yeah. Cat hair. Yeah, it's a whole like nature versus nurture thing, right? Like there's so much that you learn from the people in your life, but also from your environment as well. So yeah, getting a voice right by like making sure you know both of those things, like where do they come from family wise, where do they come from like culturally and everything. And because they're fantasy, I get to make up new cultures and everything. And uh, there's certain parts of it that I do know I need to change because like some of the cultures were just too similar to ones we have in this world. But yeah, the voice would stay the same. That's something I really need to work on with Daisy. Is yeah, her voice, which is why I was thinking about doing it in first person because that might help me with her voice. Although with Project Crow, I've done third person limited for the entire time. Like I never considered doing it first person. I had a lot more internal monologue though, which I think Jules, you would remember that. Um, that I've been in in the process of like transitioning into a more like deep point of view, which is really um, tricky because I'm not a huge fan of the really deep perspectives because it usually gets bogged down by a lot of detail. Um, but yeah, trying to make sure there's a balance between the detail and like kind of like the minimalism that I really enjoy writing in. Because I want the reader to kind of take the bare bones description that I'm giving and create their own world around it. So yeah, I want everyone to have a different like impression of the world that I've created, if that makes sense. Uh, I do have a kind of a swear word, um, although they have most of it is like very similar to our swearing. Um, but the swearing that um, the one curse that I don't know where this came from, but the curse that I use most frequently is seven hells. Which and then I started using that, and I'm just like, oh, I guess now I have to make up some sort of lore about there being seven hells in this world. uh, it's so hard. Yeah, honestly, author voice is really, really tricky. Because you want to make it kind of like the same so the reader isn't shocked the next time they're reading your own book. Um, but at the same time, making it different enough so in that way they're not like, oh, like this main character is basically this other main character that you've written. Um, yeah, and honestly, it just time for me. I wrote a lot of fan fiction. Um, so that helped me kind of like craft my voice, if that makes sense. I was just like, oh, I just want to do these really like fun, like one shots. And so I did. And I was like really experimenting with this like minimalism in and very like dialogue heavy. And it was a lot of fun to write. Yeah. Uh, I do agree like the whole like you know like they sound like they're from different authors. It's yeah, because I mean like with Leigh Bardugo, like you can tell that she has a very strong like voice, but like every book that she has, like the characters are just like that much different. So they can have like the same overarching voice, but the way the voice comes from each character is different, and yeah, honestly, it just takes work. And yes, thank you. That's honestly one of my favorite compliments that I've ever got is Kelly was telling me that it sounded like a the way she was imagining the world is like a Studio Ghibli movie, which is all I aspire to be. I just have to get a world there. Yeah, and I 100% agree. Like, you don't want to read a book where everything is laid out for you, or for me anyway. I don't know. Everyone can read what they want to. Um, yeah, Rick Riordan has mastered it, honestly. And yes, fan fiction is literally one of the best like training scenarios you can ever do. I 100% back fanfic writers. I think what's her name, Jemison, and is it N.K. Jemison? I believe so. Um, still writes fan fiction on the side, which uh, good for her. I believe her. Yes, her. Yes, I'm always afraid of getting pronouns wrong. Just gonna double check that my comments are mostly caught up now. There we go. Oh, my mom is coming over to install the towel rack, so I do have to head this out. Head out, and end this. I need to go to bed too, apparently. Yes, we should all write fan fiction on the side. Ooh, I would not be surprised. And yes, I definitely do have dream agents, and I will possibly bring that up in one of my weekly updates. And yes, anytime, and by anytime, I mean anytime I have time. I'm hoping that I'll be able to do at least 1 or 2 this week. And then yes, Kelly and I have our spooky sprints next Sunday. Which is on her channel, and I will put the link in this description in a minute. I have ideas, but I also don't want to have an idea and then be like disappointed by whatever they actually do come up with, you know? Yes, thank you so much. All right. Well, have a wonderful day, everyone. And I will see you hopefully this week at some point. Okay. Bye.